Hello and welcome to your Friday update on the major storms in the Atlantic from the Met Office. We have three hurricanes to talk about. This is Irma, of course. This is Jose. More on this storm in just a moment. And in the Gulf of Mexico, we have Hurricane Katia. This is drifting south, expected to bring torrential rain to more eastern parts of Mexico over the next day or so, maybe as much as 400 millimeters of rain. As I said, I'll have more on Jose in just a moment, but we have to start, of course, with Hurricane Irma. This record-breaking storm continues to cause devastation across the Caribbean. Now, on Friday morning, the storm was downgraded from a 5 to a Category 4 storm. But don't be fooled, it's just a numbers game, that really. The impacts from this storm are little changed. We are still expecting devastating, destructive winds over the next day or so. 400 millimeters of rain could fall from this storm, particularly in parts of Cuba and then possibly Florida. And there will also be a significant storm surge. That's where basically the waters just get lifted up, and that causes flooding also. Now let's focus in on the next 24 hours or so. So the storm is starting to move away from the Turks and Caicos Islands. We'll get some images from here, no doubt, through Friday of the extensive flooding. The storm itself back out over open water, and significantly the water here is still very warm, so it will continue to feed that storm. We're not expecting much change in its intensity. It's still expected to be a Category 4 storm, at least as it approaches more northern portions of Cuba. Expected to arrive close by to the coast later on Friday, still packing those winds in excess of 150 miles an hour and bringing torrential rain right across eastern Cuba. Again, running through that same sequence through Friday. Torrential rain, the brighter colors here, maybe 2, 3, possibly 400 millimeters of rain expected to cause flooding. Again, that storm surge also with the strong winds battering southern parts of the Bahamas. Further flooding inevitable across this part of the world over the next day or so. What happens after that? Well, there's still a bit of uncertainty. This is the official track from the NWS, the National Weather Service of the United States. The official track doesn't actually make landfall across Cuba. It just skirts that north coast before then tracking northwards to hit Florida at the weekend. Expected to arrive across the Florida Keys on Saturday night. The M stands for major hurricane. As it arrives, it's still anticipated at this stage to be a Category 4 storm at least. Once it's made landfall, it will start to weaken, but it's still expected to be a hurricane even on Monday as it crosses the land. And now it will weaken and then drift its way northwards, bringing torrential rain to parts of Georgia. But the major uncertainty exactly how quickly it turns its way northwards, but it is expected to bring maybe 2, 3, 400 millimeters of rain to parts of southern Florida and still packing those winds gusting around 150 miles an hour. So again, further problems to come over the next couple of days. It's something we'll be keeping a very close eye on. But another storm we also have to track is Jose. Well out to sea at the moment, but it is tracking its way steadily westwards, taking a similar track to Irma. Now, this storm is not quite as intense, but it is still a major storm, packing winds on Friday of 125 miles an hour. Now, as we run through towards the weekend, just look how close it gets to Barbuda. And there's warnings in force right across the northern portions of the Leeward Islands. That storm could just be a little bit further south. And of course, any extra wind, torrential rain in this part of the world after the devastation of Irma is just going to cause further problems. So that is another storm we need to keep a very close eye on over the course of the weekend. We will try and keep you updated as best as possible. The Met Office social media channels are a great source of information, and the official weather track of these storms comes from the National Weather Service of the United States. Always good to keep up to date with them as well.